Totoro, 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 do 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 do. I thought I'd turn the camera off. Hi guys! So I've got a bit of a better YouTube setup now. Well, I kind of got a makeshift background of fabric I haven't used, and I have a little microphone here. So it'll be better than the sound coming from my actual camera, so let's see if this works. So for my video this week, I decided that I'm going to do a little top 5, kind of like my favourites type thing. And what I thought I would do today is my top 5 Studio Ghibli movies. Because I grew up on Disney, a lot of Disney, my Disney collection's over here, there's like over, I can't count. But ever since then, ever since I've seen Studio Ghibli films, the animation style being so different, the stories being so in-depth and emotional, no musicals, sometimes not even really happy endings, it was such a change. So I got a bit more into it, and I now feel that I can share with you some of my all-time favourites. Number 5, From Up on Poppy Hill. And From Up on Poppy Hill was a film that I got for Christmas about a couple of years ago. It's one of their newer ones. It's not fantasy related at all. Like most of Studio Ghibli's films, they have a little twist of the mysterious, the fantastical elements in them. From Up on Poppy Hill doesn't have that. It's basically, the whole idea behind it is a bunch of school kids trying to save the clubhouse at their school from being torn down. A lot of clubs and that run in the clubhouse, obviously being a clubhouse, duh. And basically just a whole big school effort on school pride of, come on, we can save this clubhouse, we can make it something great, so many memories in that are made. And it focuses around two people. So the main female character is a girl called Umi, and the main male character is a boy called Shun. It basically focuses on their relationship. They both go to school together, haven't really mixed with each other much, but eventually through the renovation of this clubhouse, they begin to get closer and closer and closer. I'm not going to spoil too much or anything, but the relationship develops that's so nice, and you kind of just want to connect with them, and eventually you just want to save this clubhouse as well. It's a pretty cool clubhouse. You just want to save it with them, and you want to see how this relationship goes, because I don't know, I just really cared. If you can watch it, just watch it, because I don't know, I've lost for words. It's just so good. There was no need for drama in any of it. Like, it wasn't, if you're looking for a big dramatic story, this is not the one for you. There's a little bits of story twists to keep you interested, but there's no flashbangs or no death or anything like that there that's like so it might be boring to some people, but to me definitely wasn't. Definitely just a nice little movie to sit and watch if you're just looking to relax at the end of the day. Number 4, Grave of the Fireflies. Again, nothing fantasy related at all. It's actually based in Japan, in the city of Kobe, I believe, yeah, Kobe, at the end of World War II. And it's based around the siblings. If I butcher the Japanese, which I probably will, I apologise. It's based around the siblings of Seita and Setsuko. It's basically a little film about how their lives have changed after the events of World War II, the whole thing with the dropping of the atomic bomb and all that. Very, very dramatic film, because obviously Japan changed so much after the effects of World War II, and these people, they're only kids. So how do kids react in the country after all these events have happened? Who do they turn to? Do they come out worse for wear? Do they eventually overcome their trials and come out for the better? Very, very dramatic. It's a very emotional film, so be prepared to get very emotionally invested into it, because I did whenever I was watching it for the first time. It was around Christmas time as well. The film channels decided just to stream a big marathon of these films. I'm not complaining about it, but that's where I came across it. I was watching it very late at night, and I kind of just wanted to go, yeah, or when the film was on. So prepare to get very emotionally invested in this. Warning though, it's a bit of a tearjerker. I was not prepared. Number 3, The Cat Returns. The Cat Returns was one that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I hadn't heard about it until I basically got this like whole DVD collection. It's actually a little spin-off. It takes one of the characters from another Studio Ghibli film, Whisper of the Heart, the Baron, and basically sets him in his own film, which is kind of cool. They focused on this one character and says, we can do something with this, and made their own. And it was a really good move. The film focuses on a schoolgirl called Haru, who gets tangled up in a kind of marriage to the Prince of the Cat Kingdom after she saves a cat from getting run over in the street. Now she's a very nice schoolgirl. Kind of didn't want to refuse. She didn't want to do this, but she didn't want to refuse. So her mixed reaction kind of made the cats believe that yes, this is what she wants. So what we'll do is we'll carry her off to the Cat Kingdom, where she can meet her future husband, who's a very fat cat. And in the English dub, he's voiced by Tim Curry. In the English dub, the Baron is voiced by the actor who played Wesley in The Princess Bride. So that was something. I really liked that. I like The Princess Bride. It's a fantasy one. It's the first fantasy one on my list because it is essentially a world of cats. Once she's transported into the world, it's literally nothing but cats, and eventually, the longer she stays in the world, she actually starts to turn into a cat herself. And it actually reminds me a little bit of Labyrinth as well, like the film Labyrinth, the Jim Henson one, because at some point there is a maze sequence where the Baron and Haru and all of her other companions, I can't remember their names off my head, it's actually been a while since I've watched it, they're in a maze trying to escape from the world of the cats. And the prince is just sitting up on this like tower just watching all of this. It kind of just reminds me of whenever Sarah is in the labyrinth and Jareth is just kind of walking around singing, "Your eyes can be so cruel." I need to watch that movie again. Nothing too dramatic, so it wasn't like Grave of the Fireflies, but still, you want her to get out of this situation, because would you want to marry a cat against your will? She was a cute cat, but no. Number 2, the most mainstream of all, Spirited Away. This was the first Studio Ghibli film I ever watched. Like I said, I watched a lot of the Disney movies growing up, and this one was actually made by Disney as well in some way. I can't remember. I think they either produced it or there was something like that. It was completely different from any Disney film I'd ever seen. Right from all the strange creatures that you see in the bathhouse, just the whole idea of a spirit world, Yubaba, Big Baby, Radish Monster. There's too many weird things to talk about in this film. The art blew me away. Right from the transition from just the mundane side of the river to the other side where it lit up at night, spirits walking about everywhere. Like I said before, all of the various monsters, well, I wouldn't call them monsters, call them beings inside the bathhouse, and of course, this guy. Of course, the one moment that always gets me is the moment whenever you see Haku just flying across the sky, just as this. It's just the spirit of the Kohaku River. It's so beautiful, and it's a really heartwarming story as well. There's a few dramatic moments in it, but it's basically a little girl, Sen, or Chihiro, trying to get her parents back from the awful situation that they're in, and you what happened if I lost my parents in the exact same situation? I would be doing the exact same thing Sen would be doing. So you really root for her in it, and you just get lost in the imaginativeness. That's not even a word. You just get lost in just the whole aesthetic of the film, and the beautiful story. The soundtrack's also quite nice, and definitely one that you should watch if you haven't watched it already. Number 1, Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle has got to be my most favourite Studio Ghibli film ever, obviously based on this list, it's number 1. I watched Howl's Moving Castle shortly after Spirited Away. Funny enough, I had actually never heard of it either. It was one that I just came across again whenever I got this movie collection. But oh my god, I did not expect it. The film's based around a character called Sophie, who works in, I think it's her mother's like hat shop. Basically, she makes hats, and there's talk around the town of this man called Howl, who is a wizard of sorts who steals your heart. And Sophie, she's very like, oh, I'm not beautiful enough for Howl to even want to steal my heart, so he'll never notice me, because she's very plain. She wears a simple little dress, her hair is always back in a plait, a little braid, so very simple girl, so keeps to herself. One day on the way home, she all of a sudden starts to get followed by these strange figures. Again, this is a fantasy film. And then all of a sudden, this strange man appears, and it's Howl, with his dashing blonde hair and charming Christian Bale Batman voice. Eventually, Howl saves her from these monsters and leaves her back home, and then she encounters a being called the Witch of the Wastes. The Witch of the Wastes is a very jealous woman, and essentially she curses Sophie, so Sophie, when she wakes up in the morning, is now an old lady. In order to try and reverse this, she has to try and go and find the Witch of the Waste. So she leaves town and tries to find her. The thing is though, she can't tell anybody about this spell, one of the Witch of the Waste's things. Side note, this film is also set in this world during a war. Eventually, Sophie stumbles across Howl in his giant moving castle, and where she meets Calcifer, who is a fire that literally moves this entire moving castle. May all your bacon burn. And it's essentially a film about how Sophie and Howl develop a relationship whilst in this castle, whilst Howl tries to deal with being a wizard in these trying times when he doesn't want to use his magic for this war. That's not who he wants to be. I don't want to go through the entire plot because a lot happens in the film, but it's such a great film. It's got romance in it, it's got magic in it, it's got a lot of drama as well, based on the events that transpire around it, and I definitely recommend that you check it out as well because it was such a good film. Very vivid imagery as well, kind of like Spirited Away, maybe not on quite the same level, but still, if you like your fantasy and your very different styles of like film and artistry, then definitely check this one out. Bit of a disclaimer, these are only like 5 films from Studio Ghibli that I've watched. There are so many other films that I wanted to include in this list, like Porco Rosso, Laputa, like ones on this list, like Laputa, Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service. They're all such good films. These are just the 5 ones that I like the best. If I was going to add a top 6, then the one after this would probably be Totoro, because it's Totoro. I know that this is only in my personal opinion, so if you have a different opinion about it, please feel free to write it in the comments below. I want to hear your opinions on it. Just make sure to do all the YouTube things. If you like this video, or if you like Studio Ghibli even, just give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome videos that are coming pretty much now weekly, now that we've got our schedule figured out. And just continue being awesome and watch more Studio Ghibli films because you know they're amazing. Until next time, bye! That you'll get with me in the car, like whenever you're going anywhere. Mom loves it.
dragon!